Greatest Honor. He's an easy winner in the Holy Bull. And here he comes now. Greatest Honor finding his best stride right when he needs to. And he's going to run down, drain the clock to win the Fountain of Youth.
Hello everybody, Mike Welsch back with you again at Churchill Downs with the Daily Racing Form Kentucky Derby Clocker Report, brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, the home of five-time reigning champion sire Into Mischief, who is also the sire of this year's Wood Memorial winner and Kentucky Derby contender Resilience. Now, traditionally, we'll have our first show each year in the stall in the paddock of last year's winning Kentucky Derby horse, which was Mage, as we all know, the upset winner of the 2023 Derby. But with the new paddock still under construction, get ready in time for opening night. Just about everybody else in this place, or every place else in Churchill Downs, being worked on at the moment. We've come indoors for the first show this year, but hopefully it'll be the last time we'll have to be in here. The weather beautiful today, a little on the chilly side. Would love to say keep it that way for the next couple of weeks, but there is some rain in the forecast for next weekend. We'll talk about that, how that might impact things a little later. Very busy morning on the Kentucky Derby workout front here at Churchill today due to the rain here yesterday. Pushed a few works back along with the already scheduled ones. We had 7 Derby workers, potential Derby starters, work this morning, led by the Brad Cox trained pair of Catching Freedom and Just a Touch. Catching Freedom, the first worker of the morning, right after the track opened at 5:15. 5 furlongs, a minute and 2 fifths, typical Brad Cox style, going easily, galloped out with decent energy. Just a Touch went after the first break, which is the traditional 7:30 to 7:45 window for Derby and Oaks starters only, and it was a very easy, almost maintenance-like half, but he looked good doing it. 48-2, cruising throughout, galloped out 5/8 in 102, pulled up 3/4 in 16-3, coming off a race just a few weeks ago. Not his toughest work coming into the Derby. I think we're going to see a lot more out of him in his final work here, probably next Saturday, weather permitting. Endlessly was a big question mark coming in this morning. This is a horse that's eligible for the Derby, never run on a dirt racetrack before, everything on synthetic and on turf. Today was the test to see how he might handle the track here, and it did not go that well, at least from my standpoint. 5/8 in a minute and 3, the time was fine, but he was all out to do so, all out to keep pace with Yellow Card, a maiden special weight winner in his last start, coming to the wire, and then he pretty much lost contact going into the turn. So we'll be interested to see what decision trainer Michael McCarthy makes with Endlessly, whether to keep him in the Derby or to run him. The alternate plan would be the American Derby on the turf the same day. Also early this morning, under the lights, Just Steel for trainer Wayne Lucas went a mile in a minute and 40, broke off at the wire by himself, picked up company purposely. It was a stablemate waiting for him at the 5/8 pole. They finished together, just average looking coming home, 26 and change. They were out in the middle of the track. They had to come outside. There was another team working in front of them down the stretch. Now at 7:30, we had 3 more Derby workers during that Derby Oaks window. For Danny Gargan, the team of Society Man and Dornock, an easy half, 48-1. They galloped out okay, 101-1, 114-4. They were asked a little bit to finish that final furlong of the gallop out. They'll have 1 more work here, I'm guessing, in company. Maybe do a little more next week. And for Ken McPeak, the fastest worker, the Derby worker this morning, one of the fastest workers of the entire morning, and it was a busy one, over 200 workers on the tab here today. Mystic Dan, 5 furlongs and 59-2, went in company, finished about a head back, maybe half length back of the stablemate. They finished easy enough. They went off quick, 34-4, 35 thereabouts for the opening 3/8. Got a little tired coming to the wire. It was also a busy morning on the Oaks front. Half a dozen Oaks workers today, too, 3 of them from the busy barn of trainer Brad Cox. I just want to talk about a couple of other very pertinent Derby workers that I've seen either live or on tape around the country prior to coming here. Starting with Fierceness, the likely Derby favorite. Saw him yesterday at Palm Beach Downs. Looked absolutely terrific. Couldn't be doing any better. Coming out of that big Florida Derby win. Johnny Velasquez actually flew in overnight from Keelan to take his regular seat on Fierceness. He was just singing his praises, and trainer Todd Pletcher, after the work, said, believe it or not, he thinks this horse might be doing even better coming out of the Florida Derby than he did going into that 13.5 length or whatever it was victory in the Florida Derby. That's a scary thought for other trainers to contemplate over the next 2 weeks as we get closer and closer to the Derby. Now this morning, Sierra Leone is probably going to be the second Derby choice in the wagering. He worked at Keelan. Went 48 and changed, did it easily in company from what I was told from observers over at Keeneland. He will have his final Derby work here next week, as will Domestic Product, his stablemate, who's been working at Payson Park. He's going into the Derby without a start in 2 months, but he's doing well. I saw a tape of his work last week at Payson. I thought it was very, very good. A nice, strong gallop out. He looks like he's fit and ready to go. He had to work there today, and he'll have one more here. He'll ship here next week as well. And the other horse I just want to talk about is at Oaksville, Ways and Means. I got to see a tape of her work last week at Payson Park. I thought it was absolutely terrific as well. The gallop out, just super. She had a brutal trip, finishing second at the Gulfstream Park Oaks, but I look for her to run much improved. She was going to work there this morning, and she will be here for her final work next week. So, as I mentioned, the weather could be significant later in the week. They are calling for some rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Todd Pletcher, for one, is contemplating giving Fierceness his final Derby work at Palm Beach Downs and then vanning him here. He'd have to van him here quickly. All the horses have to be on the grounds, first time ever this year, by 11 o'clock next Saturday, so that remains to be seen, and it will remain to be seen how the weather will impact the training plans of all the other Derby horses, all of whom will be on the grounds, like I said, by next Saturday. So keep it right here. There's plenty of action left to go. It'll be quiet the next few days, and it's really going to pick up next week, and we'll have all the reports, all the scoops, all the news of Kentucky Derby 2024 right here on DRF.